Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, gonna be taking the DPF off of my A3. Gotta do some maintenance on it. We'll show you the procedure for taking it off. We're not gonna be removing or lowering the subframe to do this. So without further ado, let's get to it. And in the words of Marty Car Mods, gotta jack up your car.
12 seconds later.
Okay, I'm gonna do a quick overview of the quick, simple stuff that nobody needs instructions on, but we'll just get it out of the way. Engine cover off. Just get everything off out of the way that you're gonna need out of the way that you can obviously see. Like the engine cover, I think that's pretty much it up top. Passenger or right wheel, depending on where you're from, but the right side. Obviously always from the view of in the driver's seat. That way the right and left doesn't change, and that's how it goes. So, engine cover, wheel, belly pan. So I'll get all those off and we'll be back.
20 minutes later.
Okay, next we're gonna start disconnecting some stuff from up top here. Gotta pull these nuts off of the heat shield. There's 3 up top. You can open this and unplug this sensor, unplug this sensor. Eventually the hoses and stuff will come off of them, but we'll worry about that when we get a little bit further down the way. So we'll do that, and then I think, ouch. So yeah, just those 3 for that heat shield. Let's do that and we'll be right back.
12 seconds later.
Okay, now that we're done up top with everything we can get at, we're gonna come down underneath the car. Hopefully I can get decent angles for you, but we're gonna have to remove those 2 nuts there, right here. And then on the other side of this is a stud on the top side there. There'll be more nuts. Got to take that off so this whole bracket's off. You don't want it left on the DPF because you need to make as much room as you can to get it out without dropping the subframe. So that. There's supposed to be one up there. It looks like when they, or that comes down from the top, I don't know, whatever. So get that one all the way up there too. We're gonna take the axle loose so that we can move it over and create a little bit more room. Up here we got where the EGR attaches to the cooler. We got a band clamp there where the EGR attaches to the pipe. So let's get all that off, and we'll come back with the next steps.
Later.
Okay, now that you got all the DPF bracket bolts off and the EGR pipe off, pop the clamp off the EGR, pop that tube off. Back here, take this hanger off, undo a clamp there, undo the clamps at the exhaust, at the valve here. Take this bracket off. You got to undo the sleeve back there as well. So we'll get all this off and then we'll be back. Catch you in a few minutes.
A few moments later.
All right, so now one cat off, EGR pipe, some brackets and schmutz out of the way, wiring out of the way. Come up here. Get all the wiring off of here. Unplug all the sensors over here for the O2 and the 2 EGT sensors that need to come off with the pipe. So let's get those off. Actually, they're over here, just so you know. Get those unplugged. Be right back.
12 seconds later.
All right, now that we have all the brackets, hoses, fittings, wires, sensors, everything off of there. We can go underneath and wiggle, jiggle, a little bit of extra force than you think you'd want to use, but saves you from pulling the subframe down. So let's get underneath, get this sucker out of here.
Few inches later.
All right, so there you can see she's fallen down a bunch. Oh, I forgot to undo the axle. Well, you know what? Let's try it without pulling the axle out either. Let's see if we can get her. Let's see. I'll give you guys a bit of a look-see up there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see anything, but let's see what happens here, shall we? Pretty sure we're going to have to drop the axle. Let's see how far we can wiggle it without dropping the axle. So, like I said in the beginning, you definitely do have to drop the axle, and this is why. The bracket hits it. So let's get the axle off and we'll continue. Alright, axle's disconnected. Let's wiggle this bad girl out of here. Wire out of the way. All right, so we just gotta pass the AC line there. Wiggle waggle. Let's bring you guys up top. So if you look down there, you can see it gets caught on this heat shielding on the AC line there a bit. So you just kind of straighten that back out. Pop this clip off, but we can just re-clip that once we pull her out. But you should see it kind of comes down and rotates. You can see this is what this part here was facing the engine block. So that's the way you got to rotate that up. Once you get that rotated up, then it should be able to just fall out. If you have to kind of tweak these lines a little bit, you can tweak them. Well, these lines a little bit, these are sensors. If you got to tweak these lines a little bit, you can tweak them a little bit. It's not a huge deal. But now, let's get back underneath. Pull the light out. Bring this other light down here so we can see. Okay, and now this should be able to just wiggle on out. Now it's just going to be caught. Now that bracket on the DPF is just going to be caught up on this heat shielding. So if you kind of shove it up to try and get some clearance. Wires out of the way. So you can see that it's kind of bunching it up here where it's caught. So you just kind of got to work it with your fingers. Just kind of work it and it'll come. Boom. Okay, and there you have it. DPF out for maintenance reasons without dropping the subframe. Yes, it is a little rough on some of the heat shielding in there, but saves you dropping the subframe. A lot of people say when you drop the subframes on these cars, you'll end up with this weird little clunk because the bolts are kind of weird and there's just, I don't know, there's some issues. People have released upgraded bolts that you can use to try and help solve that odd little clunk. Personally, I would rather just kind of deform the heat shielding a little bit and then kind of work it back into shape so it clears everything, than take the chance on having a really annoying clunk while I'm hitting bumps and driving my car. That's personal preference. If you'd rather drop the subframe, it does give you a bit more room, and then you could squeak it out without munching up the heat shielding, but it's up to you. But yeah, that's that. That's how you get her out, going back in. I'm sure you can figure out how to put her back in. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you learned something. And as always, fix it till it breaks. Peace.